All eyes are on Wisconsin, a crystal ball of sorts that could predict the future of workers' rights in America. On one side, Governor Scott Walker, who had a $3 billion hole in his state budget and decided to plug it in part by taking on unions and taking away collective bargaining rights for workers.
This is ultimately about a commitment to the future, so our children don't face even more dire consequences than what we face today.
But 14 state senators, all Democrats, fled the state in an attempt to block the measure. Meanwhile, chaos erupted in the state capitol. And protesters remained for 4 months, sparking a larger discussion about inequality and the power of corporations.
We're here because of Wall Street reckless gambling and greed, okay? That is why we're all here. People are suffering.
Recall Scott Walker organizers collected 900,000 signatures.
When you take on Main Street and when you take on the basic rights and values of everyday Americans, whether they be in Wisconsin, Ohio, Florida, or what have you, that we're going to stand up and we're going to say enough is enough.
Union leaders have been on the forefront of the recall effort and are working to raise money for Walker's opponent, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett. So far, his campaign has raised about $3.9 million. It's a sharp contrast to Walker himself, who's brought in more than $30 million, the majority of it coming in from outside of the state.
It's the Koch brothers funded Americans for Prosperity. It's the Republican Governors Association dumping tons of cash, and then basically every far ultra-conservative billionaire from the country is dumping boatloads of money into this thing.
Tuesday's election is much more than about the fate of Scott Walker. It's also about governors in states across this country who also wish to limit the role of unions and, in turn, the rights of workers. And it's also about those unions and the strength and power they have today. And finally, it's about money and its ability to control a message and have an impact on what voters decide at the polls. In Washington, Christine Frizzau, RT.